night was young, and London's foggy streets were filled with the distant echoes of sirens and voices. The city's pulse never stopped, and neither did I. My name is Alistair Saxon, and I am a monster and demon hunter working for an organization known as the Shadows. On this particular evening, the Shadows had summoned me to London, a city where history and modernity intertwined, a breeding ground for supernatural entities. My mission was clear: a vampire, ancient and cunning. Unlike the vampires of folklore and movies, real vampires are malevolent creatures, their elegance and charm disguising a brutal and insatiable hunger. This one had been feasting on the innocent, leaving a trail of bodies that could no longer be ignored. As I stood on the cobbled streets, the darkness of the night enveloped me like a familiar friend. My coat, filled with the tools of my trade, rustled in the wind as I studied the location in front of me. It was an old building, derelict and decaying, a perfect hiding place for something sinister. A vampire had been traced back to this place, its lair. Before I proceeded, I contacted my handler at the Shadows, a brilliant and mysterious woman named Serena. She had been guiding me throughout this mission, her knowledge of the vampire unparalleled. "Alistair," she said, her voice a calm, controlled whisper in my earpiece. "Be careful. This vampire is unlike anything we've faced before. Its age gives it power and wisdom. Do not underestimate it." "I understand," I reply, my voice steady. "I'm prepared." With a final word of encouragement, Serena signed off, leaving me to face the darkness alone. The building's door creaked open as I pushed it, revealing an interior filled with shadows and dust. The vampire had chosen well. The place was a labyrinth, filled with hidden corners and passages. But I was not unfamiliar with the ways of these creatures. Slowly, methodically, I began to explore, my senses attuned to the slightest noise or movement. As I delved deeper into the building, the air grew colder, the darkness more profound. A chill ran down my spine, the feeling of being watched, hunted. The vampire knew I was here. I found myself in a room filled with antiquities, relics from a time long past. A grand mirror adorned the wall, its silver surface tarnished and cracked. As I studied it, I felt a presence behind me, a sudden rush of cold air. Turning, I faced the creature I'd been hunting. The vampire was tall, its figure lean and graceful. Its eyes, a piercing red, locked onto mine, filled with malice and amusement. It wore an elegant suit, a mockery of human sophistication. "Alistair Saxon," it hissed, its voice a silken threat. "I've been expecting you." "I'm sure you have," I replied, my hand moving to the hilt of my sword, a weapon forged with ancient runes lethal to vampires. "Your reign ends tonight." The vampire laughed, a sound devoid of warmth. "You think you can defeat me? I have walked this earth for centuries, hunted by many, defeated by none." "We'll see about that," I said, my voice filled with determination. The vampire's face twisted into a snarl, and it lunged at me, its fangs bared. I moved swiftly, my training and experience guiding me as I dodged and struck back. Our battle had begun, a dance of death in a room filled with memories of a bygone era. As we fought, I realized that the vampire's words were not mere bravado. It was powerful, its movements fluid and precise. Every strike I made was countered, every move anticipated. This was no ordinary vampire. It was a master of its craft, a predator at the top of its game. But I was not to be defeated so easily. My resolve hardened, My focus narrowed. This was my duty, my mission. I would not fail. The battle raged on, neither of us giving an inch. We moved through the building, our fight a storm of fury and skill. The vampire's claws slashed at me, its fangs seeking my throat, but I was always one step ahead, my sword a flashing barrier between us. As the hours wore on, I began to see a pattern in the vampire's movements, a weakness I could exploit. It was subtle, a slight hesitation, a moment of predictability, but it was there, and I knew that it was my key to victory. With a plan forming in my mind, I led the vampire to a specific room, a place filled with history and power. The room's centerpiece was a grand chandelier, its crystals gleaming in the dim light. This was where I would make my stand. The vampire followed, its hunger for victory as insatiable as its thirst for blood. As we faced each other, I could see the realization in its eyes. It knew that I had discovered its weakness, that the end was near. With a cry of rage, it attacked, its movements a blur of speed and power. But I was ready. I deflected its attack, my sword singing through the air as I danced around the vampire's lunges and swipes. Each strike was a test, a probing of defenses, and I could feel the vampire's desperation growing. It knew that time was running out. With precision, I led it to the exact spot under the chandelier, timing my movements, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The vampire's red eyes gleamed with malevolent intelligence, but I could see the doubt creeping in, the uncertainty of what I had planned. "Your time is over, creature," I growled, locking eyes with it. "You cannot escape justice." It hissed in response, a sound filled with hatred and arrogance. "Justice? I am beyond such trivialities. I am immortal." "We'll see about that," I reply, my voice filled with grim determination. With a sudden, swift movement, I feinted to the left, drawing the vampire's attention, and then struck the support chain of the chandelier with my sword. The massive structure trembled, then crashed down upon the vampire, pinning it to the ground with a deafening sound of shattering crystal and twisted metal. The vampire screamed, a sound filled with pain and fury, as it struggled to free itself from the wreckage. I did not hesitate, advancing towards it, my sword ready to deliver the final blow. "You cannot defeat me," it spat, its voice filled with venom. "I am eternal." "You are a monster," I reply, my voice cold. "And like all monsters, you can be slain." "Ah!" I raised my sword, the ancient runes glowing with a soft light, and plunged it into the vampire's heart. The creature's scream cut through the night, a sound filled with agony and disbelief, and then it was over. The vampire's body convulsed, then lay still, its eyes dimming as the life within it was extinguished. I stood there for a moment, catching my breath, feeling the weight of the battle lift from my shoulders. It was done. The vampire was defeated, and London was safe once more. With a sigh, I retrieved my sword, cleaning it with practiced ease before sheathing it once more. The room was a mess, the grandeur of the past now mingled with the destruction of the present. But it was a small price to pay for victory. I contacted Serena, informing her of the success of the mission. Her voice, filled with relief and pride, reached my ears. "Well done, Alistair. You've done it again." "Thank you, Serena," I replied, my voice tinged with exhaustion. "But there will always be more. The battle is never over." "We'll be ready," she said, her voice filled with determination. "We always are." With those final words, I left the building, stepping out into the night. The city was still alive, its heartbeat a constant reminder of what I was fighting for. The people, the innocent, the ones who had no idea of the monsters that lurked in the shadows. I walked the streets, lost in thought, knowing that my job was never truly done. There would always be more monsters, more demons, more threats to humanity. But I would be there, ready to face them, ready to protect those who could not protect themselves. For I was Alistair Saxon, a hunter of the dark, a guardian of the light. In shadows, I thrived, and in shadows, I would continue to fight. The night was my domain, and I would never stop, never rest, until the world was safe once more. In the distance, Big Ben chimed, a sound that echoed through the city, a reminder of the passage of time. But for me, time was meaningless. The battle was eternal, and I was a part of it, a soldier in a never-ending war. With a grim smile, I continued on my way, my mind already turning to the next mission, the next challenge. For the night was still young, and the shadows were my home.